Yo, what up people, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. I have a whole bunch of new subscribers that joined since my last video, so welcome. Thank you so much for subscribing. I am really appreciative of that. Just to let y'all all know, I am a photographer, but my main job is that of a UX UI designer, so this channel does cover both topics. But today, we're gonna keep the photography chain rolling because I got a new camera. Now, some of you may already know or not know, I am mostly a Sony shooter, but today I got me a new camera and it's a little bit different, and it is the Ricoh GR3. Now, I'm gonna do a quick unboxing, but I'm also gonna talk a little bit about why I got this camera, how I plan to use it, and how I think it's really gonna benefit me and help me to really improve in my photography. But with all that said, let's go ahead and unbox this bad boy. Let go. All right, so Ricoh GR3. Now, I got some additional accessories here as well. These did not come with the camera, but these are some things I think I might need for when I'm shooting with this camera. So I'll get into those later, but I'm not gonna keep y'all waiting. Let's get into this. Okay, paperwork. Toss to the side. More paperwork here. Got an additional ring. Cool. Open this up here. Got the camera front and center. I can already see that yellow ring. Go ahead and pull this out, put it to the side. Looks like we got us 2 batteries. You know, I heard these things don't have great battery life, so really glad they gave me 2. I also bought a couple more myself, but it's nice to see that you get 2 in the box. Okay, got a nice little lanyard or a strap. Got a strap right here, so I may not need this. So we got let's see, a little outlet plug here. Got the cable, and then the power brick. Back to the camera. Wrap this here, pull it on out here. Here it is, the Ricoh GR3. So it feels pretty nice. It actually feels pretty light, feels sturdy, feels well built. Doesn't feel like the most premium, but it still feels very solid. Our scroll reel here doesn't feel too bad, feels pretty nice. Like the little golden ring here. Let me compare this to my ZV-1. I got a little extra grip extender on the ZV-1, but size comparison wise, they're about the same. That's the front, that's the side here. Got the top, ZV-1, hold on, let me take this off. ZV-1 has the extra flip out screen. This does not have a flip out screen. This screen is just as is. It doesn't move or articulate or anything like that. So ZV-1 is a little bit thicker. Lengthwise, they're about the same length. Similar button layout. How does the wheel feel on the ZV-1 versus the GR3? The ZV-1 actually feels a little bit more sturdy, less wobbly, but the GR3 doesn't feel bad, I've heard some things about this wheel, so we're gonna see once we start testing it out. Let me show you some of the accessories I got. I got a wrist strap. I'm more of a person who likes to shoot with a wrist strap instead of a neck strap, so really needed a good quality one. This one wasn't too expensive. It's just a little bit thicker, a little bit nicer than the one that came with the camera. Additionally, I got this optical viewfinder from TT Artisans. The GR3 does not come with a viewfinder included in the body of the camera, so had to get an additional one. The stock one that comes from Ricoh is $250, so that is not something I wanted to pay for an optical viewfinder, especially since I mostly do look at the LCD when I'm shooting on my cameras. But I did know that I would want an optical viewfinder in some situations. So I picked up this one. This one was about 50 bucks, so much better value, much better price. I already looked through it, you know, without the camera, and it looks pretty clear. I'm curious to see how accurate it is between the view that you see in the viewfinder and the overall image that the GR3 will output. So that should be interesting to see from a framing perspective. I got this little thumb grip here in order to help with the handling. So this inserts into the hot shoe, and then I can just put my thumb in here while I'm holding the camera, and should work out pretty well. I got this silver ring. This orange ring or this yellow ring is super nice, but my overall goal with this is not to be too conspicuous. Times where I want to stun a little bit, want to be a little flashy, maybe I'm doing a group photo walk or something like that, you know, I'll rock the yellow, I'll rock that. In the meantime, I will be rocking this silver or the black. Oh yeah, the black is tough. I like the black one. Very stealthy. Yeah, I think I might have to rock the black one. Now, as far as lens caps here, I got this Ricoh one here, or this GR one here, and looks pretty nice. I think it can just fit directly over like that. Yep, fits nice and easy. So looks pretty nice, very good construction, solid build, solid metal for that cap. Then I just twist it off, put it right there. This one here, this feels a lot cheaper. It's plastic, but the whole functionality of this is you're supposed to be able to always leave it on your camera. When the lens pops out, it essentially just opens up these little fan blades here in order for you to get those views from your camera lens. I'm not too sure how much I'm gonna use this. Yes, it's super practical, but I think I'm gonna have to unscrew the ring in order to put this on. And you know, I wanna be able to keep the ring on. I like the ring. The ring gives it character. So I might just be sticking with this one, but I might try this out from time to time. So yeah, that's been the unboxing. Now let me just give you a little perspective on why I would get a camera like this and what I plan to shoot, what my typical usage of this camera is going to be. So why the Ricoh GR3? Now, I've already mentioned before that I'm a Sony shooter through and through. I have been using Sony cameras ever since I started doing photography. Right now I'm using the a7 IV for portraits, lifestyle, fashion shoots, and I'm using the a7S III right now to film my YouTube videos. Now, here's the thing with mirrorless cameras, particularly Sony. They're really good. So much so that sometimes I wonder if it's the camera that's producing these really good images or my skill level. Is my skill level where it needs to be, or is it just the camera just making me look good, you know? For instance, Sony has amazing autofocus, so much so that I never even think about it. I just hit the shutter and I know the photo is gonna be in focus. And I think, you know, if you're using a different type of camera, that's something you would normally think about. You're like, you know, are you dialing in your focus of your subject, of the surroundings? Are you going for a more depth of field? Are you trying to get everything in focus? Things like that. And I don't think about that as much with these Sony cameras. Also, with these cameras, I do more professional work, so a lot of overhead comes with that. You know, as I mentioned, I shoot with models, so being able to, like, scheduling shoots, location scouting, theme and wardrobe planning, equipment like lighting and extra lenses, all of that is overhead along with the camera. I wanted something where I could just be me and my camera in whatever I'm shooting. I don't even necessarily need to be shooting a model. I just want to go out and shoot every day without having to think about all these extra variables. And so with this is a lot less involved. I can just take it, put it in my pocket, go out, and then shoot. It is a fixed lens camera, so I don't have to buy into an ecosystem. I can just know that the lens is already on there. Whatever lens I have, that's the lens I have. This in particular is a 28mm lens, so it's pretty wide. So whatever shots I want, if I want to get something a little bit closer, I gotta move my feet. It's 24 megapixels, so there's a little room to crop, but for the most part, gotta move my feet, gotta work to get the framing that I want. And the autofocus is okay from what I hear. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but I hear it's okay. But this also has something called snap focus, which I think would be really cool for me growing as a photographer and being able to be better about intuitively nabbing focus versus relying on the camera. So what snap focus is essentially you set distances for your focus. So if you say, I only want to focus on things that are 1 meter away, or I want to focus on the things that are 5 meters away, you kind of have to eyeball and mentally make those calculations on if you see something, it's like, okay, is that 5 meters or 1 meter away? Let me think, okay, dial that in, snap. Do things like that. So it's making me think more and really growing my skill level. It's nice to have the camera do it for me, but I'm the type of person where I like to acquire skill. I like to be knowledgeable and learn how to do things myself. So I think this is going to help me in that respect. Another thing is I wanted to create more stylized photos straight out of camera without having to bring all the lighting and lenses and all that other stuff. This has film emulation, so I can create moody vibes, I can create multiple types of vibes, and there is a community that has different recipes for these film emulations. So I think I'm gonna be able to really dial in the look that I want. And not to mention, you can raw develop your photos in camera. So you can do all of your little color adjustments, your lighting adjustments, shadows, highlights, do all of that in camera after you shot the photo. And then you can send it to your phone and it's ready to share. You don't have to transfer it to a computer to edit or anything like that. That is gonna be really awesome for just me just shooting my surroundings, not necessarily shooting models, because I know with models retouching gets involved, but this is not for model shoots. This is for me to just document shoot vibes, capture what's going on with me in my day-to-day, and I think this is gonna be great for that. Now, the last thing I'll say about using mirrorless is when you pull it out, everyone notices. Everyone sees the mirrorless camera. Everyone sees the big lens you got on there. Everyone takes notice because they think you're shooting something professional. They're high-end cameras, so why wouldn't they think that? And so it gets a little intimidating for those around you who may see you shooting with that camera. With this looks touristy. You know, people don't think much of this. This is very low key, it's very small, very tiny. I can be really low key and just get the shot that I want and really not disturb anyone. So I think that's gonna be great. Also, this is easy to travel with versus a mirrorless camera. Mirrorless camera, I'd have to bring some kind of bag or at least a neck strap to put the camera around my neck. This, I could just put in my jeans pocket and I'm good to go. Now, some things you might be wondering. I know you saw the ZV-1 earlier and you might be wondering, Bray, why don't you just use the ZV-1? It's about the same size. Why don't you just use that? Well, here's the thing about the ZV-1. It's video focused. It does not have all of the features and abilities for stills that the GR3 does. Like I mentioned, film emulations, ZV-1 doesn't have that. The ability to raw develop and edit your photos in camera, ZV-1 doesn't have that. It's really great for video, but for stills, it's not as great. Now, another question you might ask is, Bray, why don't you just use your smartphone? Well, here's the thing. I'm using the Xperia 5 Mark IV. Really great camera on this phone. Has triple lenses, really good at video. It's pretty good at photos too. But here's the thing. This is a 12 megapixel camera. This is a 24 megapixel camera. I know you might say megapixels don't count. It's more about the size of the sensor. Well, here's the thing. The largest sensor on this is 1/1.7, I believe. This is an APS-C sensor. Now, in a world where phones are just starting to get 1-inch sensors like the ZV-1, they still get beat out by APS-C sensor for shallower depth of field, higher quality images, and just an overall better look. And so I think this trumps the smartphone in those respects. Also, again, in the film emulations, you can create much more stylized photos in camera and not have to worry about doing a whole bunch of editing on a computer or anything. With the phone, you can do some editing like in Snapseed or Google Photos or whatever, but they're not as stylistic, and because they are 12 megapixel images, they fall apart a lot faster. So quality ends up being not bad, but not great. So yeah, that's why I got this GR3. I think it's gonna be a really fun camera to shoot with. Stay tuned because I am gonna be taking y'all on photo shoots with me, just every day in the life, just capturing some impromptu photos and just letting you know how I like this. Curious, do any of y'all have the GR3, or do any of y'all use point and shoots in your day-to-day in addition to your mirrorless cameras? Would love to hear that down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, if you got any value out of it, go ahead and drop this video a like. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to the channel. I got a lot more content coming up for photography, even a little UX design as well. And yeah, I will catch y'all later.